Hey, welcome to the Sideline Show. I'm Jake Berry alongside Mark May. And Mark, it's week 3 football, and we've got a doozy here at home. But talk to me about football last week and this week.
Well, McAllen ISD, all 3 teams are 1-1 now after 2 weeks of non-district play. They've got 1 more week of non-district action to get kind of tuned up and get all the creases smoothed out before they hit district play, which is just 1 week away now.
Yeah, and you know, the one team that we need to talk about is Mac High. Mac High had a tough game in week 1. What about last week?
Yeah, they started off with a loss to Edinburgh, but then last week, all the cylinders were in sync as they had a 26-7 demolition of the Mission Eagles. That's a 6A team, no less, on the road. So a very impressive win for Mac High. Quarterback Joaquin Vasquez, a sophomore, got his first start as in a varsity uniform and was sensational, helped lead the team to that 26-7 win. So this week, Mac High goes on the road again, and they'll be in Mercedes taking on the Tigers. Tigers were a playoff team last year, off to an 0-2 start this year, but Mac High looking for a win in Mercedes this Friday.
Yeah, you know, you talk about Mac High, you know, sky's the limit on that team. There's a lot of potential there. Mm-hmm. Now, one other team that we need to look at is McAllen Memorial. McAllen Memorial, their game was at home last week, and it was a tough game. You did that game. What was that game like? Yeah,
the game against Memorial and Mission Veterans Memorial, it was the game of the week for a lot of the media, and it lived up to its billing of an exciting, thrilling finish. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from that.
Rodriguez on the carry. J.C. Garza finding the end zone. McAllen on the carry for the Mustangs. Completed to number 17.
Come on out to the 4th annual McAllen ISD Superintendent's Fishing for Kids Tournament, Friday through Saturday, September 30th and October 1st. You can fish, get some sun, and help our students at the same time. It is made possible in conjunction with the McAllen Education Foundation and the STARS Scholarship Foundation. It will be headquartered at Jim's Pier on South Padre Island. There are prizes for redfish and trout. Different divisions include adults and kids. Most importantly, the proceeds will go to student scholarships. Call or click today.
And those are your highlights from the Memorial Mission Vets game last week. Mark, talk to me about this team and what we can expect this week.
Well, McAllen Memorial, 27-20 fell short against Mission Veterans Memorial. Their running back, though, Max Alanese Choi, had another 100-yard game. He's over 300 yards rushing in the first 2 games right now, so he continues to produce. But McAllen Memorial will have a tough chore this week. They're going to San Benito. That's a 6A team. They were a playoff team last year, and they're 2-0 right now. They won last week 49-0 over Brownsville Pace, so we know San Benito can light it up, and McAllen Memorial will have their hands full, but that'll be a real good test for them, a real good tune-up as they head into district where they'll open up against PSJA North the following week.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back from the break, we're going to talk row football.
Come on out to the 4th annual McAllen ISD Superintendent's Fishing for Kids Tournament, Friday through Saturday, September 30th and October 1st. You can fish, get some sun, and help our students at the same time. It is made possible in conjunction with the McAllen Education Foundation and the STARS Scholarship Foundation. It will be headquartered at Jim's Pier on South Padre Island. There are prizes for redfish and trout. Different divisions include adults and kids. Most importantly, the proceeds will go to student scholarships. Call or click today.
Welcome back to the Sideline Show. Ro, football. What can we talk about Rowe football this year? Slightly different team, but last week it looked like it was going to be a nail-biter game in the first quarter. Then all of a sudden, Rowe just let it loose.
Yeah, in the second quarter, Rowe had 28 points and got ahead to stay in that game against La Jolla, which is a 6A team, but a 48-27 win for the Warriors. And let's take a look at those highlights. And Nikki Rowe, again, winning that by 21 points. A new dimension this year. They're usually an air-it-out kind of team, but they have a really strong running game now. We saw Isaiah Mata score 4 touchdowns last week, and Chris Zavala, who only got to play in the second half, it looks like he's coming back to full strength now. So they've got an excellent 1-2 punch in their offensive backfield, and they look for bigger things this week.
All right, Mark, they've got another tough test this week. Talk about this week's game and what we can expect from this team.
Well, they'll be playing the Sherryland Rattlers at home. Rattlers are 1-1. They won their opener against Brownsville Pace and then had a wild game against Brownsville Hannah, losing 43-36 last week. But we know the Rattlers are certainly a team that can put points on the board. Rowe is also a team that is traditionally comfortable in those kinds of high-scoring games. But, you know, one thing that was kind of overlooked last week with Mata having all those 4 touchdowns, the defense of Rowe, they produced 5 turnovers. So this week we caught up with one of their defensive backs, Christian Villarreal, who had a hand in a couple of those turnovers, and here's what he had to say.
My name is Christian Villarreal. I'm a defensive back for the Warriors. My role on the field is to guard receivers and to keep the run from getting too deep. The last game I had 2 fumble recoveries and 1 big hit that caused a fumble.
Let's see who came up with this. It looks like Rowe did.
Or bad
It's going to be Rowe's football.
Or
Fumble. Hey, man, he recovered the previous fumble. He's got 2 fumble recoveries in this game now.
It feels like we have on the right track of into the playoffs and making it all the way to the 3rd round. I plan on going to college near Houston area, and I want to be like a physical therapist.
And so the Warriors and the Rattlers will kick it off at 7:30 p.m. tonight at DQ Fan Field at McAllen Veterans Memorial Stadium. Both teams are 1-1. A last chance in non-district before they hit the district slate, so it should be a good one between the Warriors and the Rattlers.
All right, there's your look at all 3 McAllen schools. For Mark May, I'm Jake Berry. We'll see you tonight for the Rowe Sherryland game.